You are now listening to TheGrio's Black Podcast Network, Black Culture Amplified.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of TheGrio Daily. I'm so glad that you tuned into us because, I've said some controversial things here, which might get me canceled. Well, not that I believe in cancel culture, because cancel culture is a myth, right? There's really no person who anyone can point to who's ever been canceled. And the belief that, people get canceled is something that somebody just made up because they want to say stuff that they can get away with. Aside from that, today we're going to talk about, cancel culture, as you could probably guess, right? But what we're going to talk about is not specifically cancel culture, but what people believe cancel culture is. And that's why I want to welcome you to TheGrio Daily, the only podcast that is going to dispel the three biggest myths of cancel culture. I'm Michael Harriot, world famous white peopleologist, and this is TheGrio Daily. So first, before we even get into cancel culture, we need to define cancel culture. And cancel culture is defined as, I don't know, whatever you say. Like, there's really no definition for cancel culture. If you ask 10 different people, you might get 10 different answers. Some people say it's when, black people or the woke left or the liberals or people in general decide to end somebody's career because of something that some people don't like. Some people say it is just, ignoring people. Some people say it is a collective action. Some people say it is a bunch of individuals. Like, really, cancel culture really doesn't have any real definition, which is why when someone asks me why someone was canceled, I always ask define cancel culture, because depending on who you talk to, it could mean a bunch of different things. And I did a little poll on my social media, and I asked people, how does one go about canceling people or canceling someone? And nobody had an answer, right? A real good answer. There were, nebulous things like, you just got to start hating on them, or you just got to end them. Like, I don't know how you do that. And so today we're going to talk about the three biggest myths. The first myth of cancel culture, besides the idea that cancel culture exists, is the idea that, people can collectively decide anything, right? Like, black people will tell you that we need to unify. We wonder why all the white people vote Republican and all the black, Hispanic, and Asian people vote Democrat. We wonder why we can't collectively, unite against white supremacy. But for some reason, we can all decide collectively, unanimously, to cancel someone. How is that possible? Tell me what sense that makes, right? So the first myth is that cancel culture is a collective action. Now, what cancel culture probably is that sometimes people do stupid or mean things. And when some of these people do stupid or mean things, people say, that was so bad, I ain't gonna F with them no more. And they got themselves, quote unquote, canceled. And while that may be some people's definition of cancel culture, the reality is, like, if that's true, right, then cancel culture has always existed, right? Like, cancel culture exists on every level in every form of media, entertainment, and politics, right? Like, the reason that we stopped messing with Milli Vanilli was not because we canceled them, but because we found out that it wasn't Milli Vanilli, which was so bad that we said, why listen to their music? Like, the reason that nobody still listens to, what's your favorite one-hit wonder? Orange Juice Jones. That might be too old for y'all, because Y'all don't remember when I saw you standing in the rain. But take your favorite one-hit wonder, right? Like, why is rapping do? Okay, that's too old too. But why do some entertainers fall off? Because people stop listening to their music. So in a sense, like, we dislike what they did. They didn't stop making music. We just stopped listening to it. Is that canceling? Or if a show gets bad and people stop watching it, like The Walking Dead, y'all hear me. The Walking Dead is terrible. Why does everybody have to leave the camp and go chase? Like, I gotta run out and save so and so. Like, that's how everybody on The Walking Dead dies. It's like people on The Walking Dead, or the characters on The Walking Dead, don't know what's going on The Walking Dead. But anyway, when a show gets that bad, we stop watching it. Is that canceling, right? Because it's still on TV. The audience just stops watching it. So in a sense, cancel culture exists in every medium and has always existed, right? The reason that we didn't vote for Donald Trump for a second term is because more people voted for the other guy, which means Donald Trump was kind of canceled, or what we call democracy. Unless you are a MAGA and then you believe that, the vote was stolen and dead people voted. The second biggest myth of cancel culture is that we don't have, like, it's some kind of right-wing thing, that it's something that liberals do, it's something that woke people do, and not, conservatives or some people who are, not so sensitive or quote unquote snowflakes. They never cancel people. Well, how about the Dixie Chicks though? Like, what happened to the Dixie Chicks after they called out George Bush about the Iraq war? Oh, dude, that don't count, right? Or how about any Republican politician who believes in abortion besides Herschel Walker? Because, Herschel Walker has normalized abortions, right? Because Herschel Walker got like more abortions than Harriet Tubman freed slaves. But in a sense, both sides sometimes decide to stop associating with an individual or a movement or a business or anything because of the things, and this is the important part, the things that people do. It's not like people get canceled for things that they never did, right? We didn't cancel Bill Cosby because of a rumor, right? Bill Cosby's career ended because he went to jail for something that he did. Same thing with R. Kelly, same thing with, I don't know, pick your poison, right? Like, people stopped messing with them because of things that they did or said. And I know you ask, but why people ain't cancel Kanye? Well, here's the thing. That's the third biggest myth. That anybody can be canceled. Nah, anybody can't be canceled. See, people still mess with Kanye not because misogynoir or because we hold him to a different standard than other people. Nah, people don't cancel Kanye because they listen to his music and he's entertaining. And I don't mean entertaining in the musical way, but in the sense that he's a train wreck, right? Like, even people who dislike what Kanye says kind of want to look at the train wreck that he is, right? And so, in a sense, Kanye is uncancelable because he keeps getting into train wrecks and we want to watch. And the same thing is true with other people who we haven't canceled. Which brings me to the one person who everyone said was canceled. And this is the only example that people ever bring up. And her name is Chrisette Michele. Chrisette Michele was canceled, so they say, because she agreed to perform at Trump's inaugural ball. And then everybody canceled her, which is not quite true. See, here's the reality. Chrisette Michele made her first album and it sold about 400,000 copies. Then she made another album and it sold about 500,000 copies. And she was on tour with Mary J. Blige and she was a big star. And then she left her record company. And then she made another album which sold about 133,000 copies according to Billboard. wait, she was declining. And then she went on a reality show, and then she left the reality show. And then she made another album that sold a few thousand copies in its first week, and nobody paid it any attention. And then she started doing a gospel play version of Love Jones in small towns and theaters because no one was paying attention to her. And then she released another album and absolutely nobody paid attention. And this was in June 2016. And because no one paid her any attention, then she decided to go and perform for Donald Trump. And then she said black people canceled her. But they weren't buying the albums before she agreed to perform for Donald Trump. Her career was waning, much like everyone else's career. And if black people did decide not to support Chrisette Michele, it is because of something she did. And not just something she did that affected the people who were buying Chrisette Michele's albums. So she did something that was against her fan base. So her fan base, so she said, canceled her. When in reality, they just had already stopped listening to her music. Chrisette Michele's cancellation is one of the biggest myths in the lore of cancel culture. And that's why there are 3 myths that need to be dispelled because cancel culture doesn't exist. And it's also why you need to download the TheGrio app. It's why you need to subscribe to this podcast on every platform you can. And that's why you need to follow us and check us out and tell your friends about us. And that's why we leave you with another black saying. Let's just agree to disagree that we should listen to Chrisette Michele. If you liked what you heard, please give us a 5-star review, download the TheGrio app, subscribe to the show, and share it with everyone you know. Please email all questions, suggestions, and compliments to podcasts@thegrio.com.
You are now listening to TheGrio's Black Podcast Network, Black Culture Amplified.